The fallout from the Graham Norton Show did not end when the cameras stopped rolling. In fact, it was only just beginning. Within 24 hours, media outlets from London to Los Angeles ran clips of Robbie Williams' verbal takedown, amplifying the moment into a global headline. What had been designed as a harmless promotional appearance turned into a case study in public humiliation. For Meghan, the incident struck at the very heart of her brand. She had worked tirelessly to position herself as a respected humanitarian and media powerhouse. Yet in one unscripted exchange, all of that crumbled. The headlines didn't dwell on her projects, her words, or her ambitions. They fixated solely on her discomfort, her inability to respond, and the audience's delight at her expense. Prince Harry, meanwhile, emerged as a figure of mockery. His silence during the roasting became symbolic. To critics, it was a final proof that he thrives on victimhood, unable to protect his wife or command respect without demanding it. The irony was cruel. The very titles and honorifics that Harry often insists on were absent that night, replaced instead with jeers and laughter. His royal stature, once the source of intrigue, now looked like a hollow shell. The couple's team scrambled into damage control mode. Sources close to them leaked carefully worded statements to the press, suggesting Robbie's remark was in poor taste and that Meghan remains focused on her charitable commitments. But the narrative had already escaped their grasp. The public wasn't interested in controlled messaging. They wanted the raw, unedited spectacle of Meghan being cut down in real time. And they got it. For Robbie Williams, the backlash never came. In fact, his reputation soared. Social media users praised him as the one celebrity unafraid to say what everyone was thinking. His sharp tongue, his confidence, and his refusal to bow to the Sussex PR machine turned him into an unlikely folk hero overnight. British tabloids labeled him the man who roasted a duchess, and the clip of his takedown cemented itself as one of the show's most iconic moments. But perhaps the most telling response came not from fans or critics, but from inside the royal family. Palace insiders, speaking on background, were said to be amused by the exchange. One source bluntly remarked, "They wanted the spotlight, and they got it, but they can't control how it shines." That statement captured the mood perfectly. For years, Meghan and Harry have tried to wield media attention as a weapon. Now, for once, the weapon had turned back on them. As the dust settled, one undeniable truth lingered. Meghan and Harry's gamble to rebrand themselves through media appearances was crumbling. Each attempt to control the narrative only deepened their vulnerability. On Graham Norton's stage, stripped of scripts and stripped of sympathy, the illusion shattered. And the ending was cruelly poetic. What Meghan and Harry intended, as another step toward global dominance, became a public spectacle of rejection. They weren't treated like untouchable royals. They weren't even treated like dignified celebrities. They were treated like fair game, and in front of millions, they lost. The Sussex brand, carefully crafted and aggressively marketed, faced a tidal wave of mockery. Memes circulated within hours, side-by-side comparisons of Meghan's stunned expression with scenes from British sitcoms, gifs of Harry grimacing uncomfortably, and captions reminding viewers that even celebrities are tired of the pity party. For years, Meghan and Harry have positioned themselves as champions of truth and authenticity. Yet this very appearance exposed the opposite. A couple desperate for applause, thin-skinned, and wholly unprepared for unscripted honesty. What was meant to showcase their relatability instead revealed fragility, and the public seized upon it with gleeful cruelty. Entertainment insiders were quick to weigh in. Several unnamed producers told industry outlets that Meghan's handlers were furious at Graham Norton for allowing Robbie's remarks to air uncensored. But Graham's team, known for valuing spontaneity, refused to bow to pressure. "It's not our job to protect egos," one staffer reportedly said. "It's our job to let the audience see the real person sitting on the couch." That single quote only fueled the controversy. To many, it confirmed what the public had long suspected. Meghan and Harry were trying to manipulate every media interaction to maintain a polished facade. And in a setting where control slipped, the facade crumbled. Robbie Williams, for his part, doubled down. In a post-show interview, he dismissed the uproar with a smirk. "Look, if you can't take a joke, maybe a late-night comedy show isn't the place for you. His unapologetic stance won him even more admiration, while leaving Meghan's defenders scrambling to shift the conversation elsewhere. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace maintained its usual silence, but silence, in this case, spoke volumes. Royal correspondents hinted that senior royals were privately amused by the entire episode. The image of Meghan Markle, once heralded as the fresh new face of the monarchy, being reduced to a punchline on national television, was said to have brought a certain satisfaction behind palace walls. One palace insider, speaking to a British tabloid, offered a biting observation. They left saying they didn't want to play the game. But the problem is, they still want the spotlight. And when you stand in the spotlight, you can't complain when people actually see you. The implication was clear. Meghan and Harry could no longer demand deference. If they wanted celebrity treatment, they would have to endure celebrity ridicule. Polls conducted in the days following the show revealed a striking shift. Among British audiences, approval ratings for Meghan and Harry dipped further into negative territory, with many respondents citing the Graham Norton appearance as evidence of their inability to take criticism. Even in the U.S., once considered their safe haven, the tide appeared to be turning. American viewers, previously more sympathetic, began echoing British sentiments that the couple were out of touch, overly entitled, and unwilling to laugh at themselves. It was not just a PR misstep. It was a cultural moment, crystallizing years of simmering resentment into one viral clip. What made the moment sting even more was Harry's reaction, or rather, his lack of one. Instead of defending Meghan, instead of meeting Robbie's jab with humor or wit, he sat in silence, lips pressed tight, his frustration written across his face. To the audience, it looked like petulance. To critics, it was proof of his antagonistic streak. A man who expects reverence but offers no grace in return.